Okay, what we're working with today is three-dimensional figures. And so this is a rectangular prism. And so we need to be able to read and understand how to do these. Okay, so what we have right here is it says AC, and it's line AC. So I'm going to highlight on here. So line AC is this one right here. So that's AC. And then let's do a different color. Line DC is this one right here. And the question is, where do they intersect? Well, you can see where the yellow and the green overlap, and that answer is at C. Oops, let's change that. So they intersect at point C. You can also notice that they both have a C in common, and so since they both have a C in common, that has to be where they cross. Okay. All right, I'm going to erase these highlights. Make sure you don't highlight until I tell you to highlight, because otherwise we'll have too much highlighted. All right, the next one says name 3 collinear points. Well, remember that word collinear means on the same line. And so you can see right here, A, B, and C are on the same line. And with points, you put commas between, or these points down here on that one are on the same line, F, E, and D. The order does not matter as long as you have those points. Okay, let's erase those arrows. Okay, all right, and now let's look at the next one. Name 4 non-collinear points. So this one is almost any combination. You just have to name 4 points that are not on the same line. So I'm going to say F, G, and I'm going to say H and B. Those points are non-collinear. Okay. All right. Now we are going to do the next part. In this next part, I'm going to kind of outline it so we get an idea, but then don't highlight. We'll highlight the last one. Okay. But if you highlight all of them, it gets pretty confusing. So what we have is plane KFG. So I'm going to take a different color marker so that you can kind of see this. So K to F to G. Now, a strategy that you could use to make these problems easier is go to the next corner. So if I went from K to F to G, the next corner I'm going to go up to is J. And that completes that plane. And so that corner that was missing was J, so I write a J there. Okay, and now I'm going to look at this next plane, so let me get a different color. So C, D, and then out all the way to F. And again, what you want to do is you want to go to the next corner that's missing. And that next corner that's missing is G. So there's 2 ways to do this problem. You can notice right here that I highlighted red and blue right there. Or you can notice here what is in common. And if you notice, they both have a, what do they both have? They both have a G, and they both have an F. So since they both have those 2 things, that is the answer. So F, G. And you could do FG with a segment, or you could say FG with lines with arrows. Okay? But again, if you have a visual of what happens on the plane and you can see the planes, then you could do that. But if not, just continue the 4 points. All right, let me see if I can erase these. Okay. All right, so now the next one, K, JC. So from K, where's K, or J to G to C. What's that 4th point? Yeah, it's A. So I'm going to put an A here. And then choose another color. Let's do green this time. K, F, G, and then up to J. So the answer is where they overlap, which is also the same as the 2 letters they both share, and they both share a J and G. Okay? So if you're able to visualize and see what both letters they share, that's the answer. If you have a hard time seeing it, just find the fourth corner and then see what letters they have in common. All right, this last one we're finally going to highlight. So get 3 different color highlighters. Okay, so let's look at this one. 3 planes that intersect at C. So here's point C. Well, one of the planes is this back one. So that's a plane that has C. And the name of that plane in the back, you just have to pick 3 of the different corners. I'm going to say is called ACG. And then I'm going to highlight this one again so you know that that's that yellow one. Okay. The next plane, pick a different color, blue, for C is this front plane. If I go up in this way. And so it's this, not the front, but the one on the right. And so that plane on the right, the 4 corners that make up that plane on the right are A, C, and D. And then there's one other place you can go for the C plane, for the C point, and that's going to be, let's do purple. I can go from C and then do this bottom one. And so that plane right there is C, D, and F. So the order doesn't matter, but you have to come up with 3 planes, which is 3 rectangles that have the point C. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about is the 3 different types of lines. Okay, let's insert some space. Okay. So the 3 different types of lines is parallel, perpendicular, and skew. Okay? So parallel lines, they never cross. And so parallel lines look like this. They go the same direction and never cross. Perpendicular lines, they intersect and make right angle. Intersect and make right angle. And so what happens here is one goes this way, one goes this way. And so a right angle, to know something's a right angle, there's a box there. Now the last one, skew. Skew is a little tricky and it's harder to see. But skew means they're not parallel and they do not intersect. So what that means is they are on different planes. Okay, so one can be a vertical plane and then one's over here going another direction. So let me give you a picture real quick to see, because parallel, perpendicular, those are understandable pretty easy because you've probably seen those words before. But skew's a little trickier, and so if I give you a picture, it'll make it a little easier. Okay, so here's the prism I found. And so skew, you can draw this if you want, but you don't have to. After seeing it, it might be helpful, and we'll practice it in class so you'll understand it some more. Okay, so skew, we need to do a marker, is when they're not parallel, so they can't go the same direction. So, I'm choosing the wrong color. So maybe this one goes up and down, and then this one goes this way. That's skew. So they're on different sides of the prism, and they are not parallel. So that's what skew is. Okay, so the biggest thing here is, remember, sometimes you're going to want to highlight, but if you're looking for intersections, you want to continue the box and find the last point on the corners, the last corner, and then see what they have in common, and that will help you see where things intersect. And then remember, parallel lines never intersect. Perpendicular lines intersect and make right angles. And then skew is when they're not parallel, they don't intersect, but they're on different planes.